Insert review intro here. Hi, I'm Torin, and welcome to Torin Loves The Simpsons. Today we're looking at Season 2, Episode 8, Bart the Daredevil, an episode where, taking inspiration from real fictional stunt performer Lance Murdoch, Bart becomes a daredevil and does daredevil things. Let's dive on in. We start with humor on this channel, and this episode has jokes. Not very many of them, and not very good ones, but there are a few jokes. The only one that gets a laugh out of me is the ambulance crash, leading to Homer's second fall down the gorge. And other than that, this episode is pretty boring. Humor gets a C+. This is the weakest episode of the season so far, humor-wise. Okay, but there's gotta be a strong plot to make up for it then. After all, at least according to this sourceless claim on the Simpsons wiki, Matt Groening said in some interview once that this was his favorite episode of the show, so it must have a stellar plot to earn its position as an all-time classic episode. Okay, well, first of all, this is not an all-time classic episode, but also, no. And this plot is okay. It does feel nice when Bart and Homer have their moment at the gorge, and surprisingly so, because they really weren't building up to that throughout the episode, so the Homer-Bart angle kinda comes out of nowhere in the last few minutes of the episode, but it works well enough to redeem the boring slog of an episode that it caps off. I do like how this episode establishes Homer's incredible resilience in the face of physical punishment. And this is a facet of his character that becomes pretty plot significant in episodes like the very late Season 7 episode Homerpalooza, or the very early Season 8 episode The Homer They Fall. But there have been plenty of other times, both before and after 1996, where Homer has been shown walking off some pretty serious blows, and we can probably thank this episode for that. Or, well, we can definitely thank this episode, and it's probably the correct recipient for the credit. So thank you, Jay Kogan and Wallace Wolodarski. I may not like your episode very much, but I like the influence it had on later episodes. So yeah, speaking of not liking this episode very much, I'm gonna give this plot a B. So, I don't hate it, but as far as Season 2 plots go, yeah, it's pretty weak. Also, before the final rating, a couple fun facts about the animation. First off, it's subtle and I didn't notice until rewatching for this review, but at the very top of Act 3, this episode totally reuses a brief bit of animation from the bus ride at the beginning of Homer's Odyssey in Season 1. And speaking of animation reuse, the same commercial animation is used in Season 4's Marge vs. the Monorail for the commercial for Truckosaurus the movie. Lastly, I've noticed something interesting with how this episode's animation director is credited throughout Season 2. For all his Season 1 episodes, he was credited as Wesley Archer, and previously in Season 2 for Treehouse of Horror and Two Cars in Every Garage and the rest of the longest episode title of the season, he was credited as Wes Archer. However, for this episode, he's credited as Wesley Meyer Archer. For One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish, he's credited as Wesley M. Archer. For Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, he's credited as W.M. Bud Archer. And for Three Men in a Comic Book, he's credited as Wes M. Archer. Then it seems from Season 3 onward, he's consistently credited as Wes Archer. I don't know what's going on here, but I really hope it's a subtle joke, and that seems to me like exactly the kind of Easter egg an animation director might put into a TV show. I don't know what the fuck a Twitter is, but if someone wants to tweet at him to find out for me, that'd be neat. Or scour his feed to see if he's already discussed it, because I literally haven't looked at all. I just saw on the wiki that apparently his Instagram handle is @Archermation, and a brief Googling suggests he's also a tweeter with that same handle. Anyways, now for the final rating. We have a C+ for humor and a B for plot. B- overall, let's move on. Sorry, Jay and Wally. I know there will come a day when I get to speak highly of your work, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and finish telling the YouTube algorithm to show you my new videos by turning on notifications with that bell dealio. Up next, we have Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, so I'll see you in that video.